are back live at your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live, as always, on Ustream.tv. Timber, the producer, Patterson, how can our listeners get in touch with us this evening, sir?
Hit us up on the hotline, 219-743-9743. Yahoo Instant Messenger is up and running. Keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, or the best way to reach us is via the chat room on Ustream.tv.
Saturday night, Ontario, California, junior middleweight action. Paul the Punisher Williams, TKO victory in the 8th round over Verno Phillips. He wins a vacant interim junior middleweight championship of the world. Blah, blah, blah. Vacant interim sort of cancels its stuff out. Chocolate-coated, sugar-free. It just doesn't, they don't work together. Paul Williams is still only one loss, 36-1 with 27 KOs. Phillips moves on down to 42-12 with one draw, 21 knockouts.
Yeah, it doesn't even tell you here what exactly alphabet belt it was that he won.
Makes no difference. Makes no difference. Bottom line is, he is probably the most feared, avoided fighter in the game right now. Because it doesn't matter if you're at middleweight, he's probably bigger than you. And anything under that, he's definitely bigger than you. So he's freakishly tall for his...
yeah, I'm not sure exactly on his height. I'm guessing 6'1" is what it is. I thought...
he looks taller than that, but he's standing in there with guys the size of Andre Berto.
He might also kind of fib about his height as well. Because people don't want to fight someone that's 6'4" and weighs 140 pounds.
I'm just saying, ESPN, Fight News, all the major websites always report him as being 6'1".
6'1", yeah.
BoxRec even says 6'1", so...
Yeah, that doesn't mean that's not what he puts out there, though.
True!
Everybody believes Charles Barkley was 6'6".
How tall is he? 6'2", 6'3"?
Was it 6'6" or 6'9" that they said Barkley was, Tim? Do you remember?
Like 6'9", I think.
And yeah.
It's something ridiculous.
And
he was only like 6'2".
That's funny. That's funny. Bottom line, that there really isn't anything to say about Paul Williams against Verno Phillips that we haven't already said. Paul Williams made a good fight out of it. Pardon me, Verno Phillips made a good fight out of it. He didn't fold or anything. Due to a headbutt, Williams had a big gash over one of his eyes. But by the end of the day, they ended up stopping the fight. Verno Phillips was not in any condition to continue fighting.
And this was not a WBC fight, so the scores were not announced after the 8th round.
Thank God.
And still, Phillips decided to stop after the 8th round. So it's not necessarily just open scoring while you'll quit in your corner.
No,
you kind of got to point that out. Yeah, but you got to point that out because, I mean, it ended in a round that he would have got the scores after the 8th round.
True.
But he didn't need the scores. He knew he lost every round, but that maybe the first round, he might have did all right in the first round. He might have had a chance to win one round out of this whole fight, which...
Possibly.
Possibly. Which,
just none of the rounds I saw. Heavyweight action, Cristóbal Arreola. TKO victory in the 3rd round over Travis Walker. Arreola, 26-0 with 23 knockouts. Walker moving on down to 28-2-1 with 22 knockouts. Great fight.
Yeah, I had to watch this one. I had to watch this one right after the Paul Williams fight, opposite of what they played it, because the fight was coming on, and I was like, oh, the boy needs to take a bath and go to bed, so I went and cleaned him up and came back down, and the fight was already over. So I got his bottle ready and watched the Paul Williams fight while he fell asleep, and then after the fight was over, I went back and watched it. Arreola have a little bit of trouble with Travis Walker early on in this fight and then turn it around.
Yeah, first round was just crazy. It looked like one of those fights that you're in a bar and everything's fine. You're looking at the girls, and then of course you're glancing at your wife, but you're looking at the girls, you're looking around, everyone's drinking.
You're looking at the girls right behind your wife.
Yeah. Letting her think that you're listening to everything she's saying. I'm kidding. Sweetie, I'll be home right away after the show. I was just kidding. Bottom line, everything is fine. And then all of a sudden, you just know. You know that something bad is going down. Because you hear a bottle crash or something. You just get that sixth sense, that weird sense that something is going down right now. And the man in you, the primal caveman, just makes Just makes your body turn towards two thugs swinging at each other. And that's what this was. And I'm not calling Areola and Walker thugs, but they're big dudes.
And they're both brawlers.
Oh my God. Jabs were optional in this fight. It was not a requirement to get into this fight.
I think the first round they both thought they're gonna try to box.
They gave it a shot, but...
And I actually think Areola lost that first round.
I don't think Areola cares about rounds. But you're right. You're right. I don't think he cares about rounds.
He lost that first round in the beginning of the second round because he came out and decided to change his style a little bit and say, I don't like... Now, you think it's because he didn't think he could get hurt by Walker.
I think after that first round and Walker threw some relatively good stuff landing on him, I think he went back to the corner saying, I got him. And I don't think he's going to hurt me.
I think Areola went back to the corner and said, I lost that first round. What I'm doing is not working for me. I'm going to change my style up a little bit.
He could have done... I think we're both somewhat right there. What I do know is he knew in that second round that Walker did have the power to hurt him.
Yeah, obviously after he went down.
He went down, but I don't think he was hurt with that knockdown.
I think he was hurt.
No.
But
he wasn't sort of hurt. He was not hurt. It was like a balance shot. He went down to one knee. He was still very clear. I mean, to go down to one knee like that off of a punch, it's one thing to get hit and get staggered and then back up and say, okay, I'm going to one knee. That's one thing.
Travis Walker's a big guy.
Yes, but there's a difference between getting hit and being staggered and saying, I'm going to one knee, and getting knocked to one knee. And he got knocked to that knee. That punch from Travis Walker was serious. And even after that serious shot that sent him down to one knee like that, Areola had his gloves up still and looked right towards the punch that Walker was about to try to land on him, even though he was trying to do a Roy Jones on him and hit him while he was still down on one knee. He was about to land one. And the referee sort of jumped in the middle, and Areola's hands were still up. He was not going to get a cheap shot hit on him at all. He got up, dusted himself off, didn't complain about anything, went to work, and knocked Travis Walker down twice.
I think Walker definitely knocked the senses out of Areola, or I don't think he would have went down. I don't think Areola just went down to take a break. And
I didn't say he went down. He got knocked down, but he got knocked down only to one knee. And you don't see guys get knocked down to one knee very often. You see guys take a knee because they've gotten hit with something hard, but they had a couple seconds to get their composure. He was knocked there. And even with Travis Walker unloading a giant shot on him, which is what that was that sent him there, Areola still had the presence of mind to keep his hands up, look straight at the punch and the puncher that was still coming at him, let the referee do his job, brush him off, brush the gloves off, and send him back in there. And the second Areola started connecting, you knew anyone that's ever watched boxing knew Travis Walker was scared to death of him after that. Because he knocked him down, he didn't get hurt, and he got right back up and started business.
Areola proved that he could come back from a knockdown in this one and win the fight.
It wasn't like a real knockdown, though.
Yeah, I know. And what worries me, though, now, there's two things I want to talk about this. What worries me a little bit about Areola is he kind of reminds me of Michael Grant. Michael Grant really never fought anybody that was a big deal and got thrown into there with Lennox Lewis, and then he never got another chance to come back and build himself up. But the only difference is Areola has a much better amateur career than what Michael Grant has.
Which is why I'm so upset that you keep comparing the two. Oh my God. Let's not make a mistake here. And forget about the amateur career. Forget about that. Michael Grant was shoved to the front of the class because of his height, not because of his fighting ability. He couldn't fight his way out of a wet bag.
Well, I believe he only had like 12 fights when he took that fight with Lennox Lewis. He did not have very many fights.
He didn't have very many, no. But Leon Spinks...
I'm sure somebody's going to tell me exactly.
No, I know. Leon Spinks beat Muhammad Ali in like his 8th pro fight.
Yeah.
What was he doing in there with him on his 8th fight? I mean, that's what you got to find yourself asking. But whatever, he was, and he beat him. Barely, and it was a really old, slow Ali, but he was put in there with him, and he beat him.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's also 2 gold medal Olympic, champions fighting each other, which you don't see very often either. So that's
neither one of these guys are.
True.
The thing is Do you think he would have fared as well? Ariel would have fared as well against David Tua, who they talked about fighting actually.
See, I had never even heard that the two of them were even close to negotiations on fighting each other. I don't think either of them wants each other right now. Tua doesn't want to fight Areola right now. Let Areola be more of a name. Tua is the name in that fight.
When you mentioned David Tua, you would think that he had a title at one time in his career.
He never held the title. But he has beaten more guys that did than probably anyone.
Exactly.
He screwed up Johnny Ruiz worse than Ruiz's own father did when he had a paddle when he was a kid. John Ruiz got smacked in like 18 seconds, got knocked out cold, like corpse cold, by David Tua when they fought. And that was a weird looking John Ruiz, because you look at that tape on YouTube, you can watch it anytime you want. He looks very thin and very stiff. Now you look at him and he's chubbier and he hits a lot harder, and he grips a lot harder too. But, oh man, my hat, if I was wearing one, goes off to Chris Arreola. He did get knocked down, although it was, I don't believe, in my opinion at least, it was not a serious knockdown. He still had his wits about him, got up and said, well, I'm pissed now. Now I'm going to take this guy out, because he probably can hurt me, but I'm not even going to give him that chance.
Yeah.
So, well done, Chris Arreola.
So you're basically thinking maybe he went in there to get some rounds in against this guy, and then once
realized that, okay, maybe this isn't the guy to get rounds with. And God bless Arreola for going right in front of that camera and saying, that guy hits hard, man. I'm not interested. I don't want to be in there with that guy. That guy hits hard. I want to go and
He also came to this a little bit out of shape, and he said that that's not going to happen next time.
See, I don't see him ever in shape.
Yeah.
I see him
in a shape.
Around is a shape. But I mean, he's not ever going to be confused with Paul Orndorff, okay?
No, yeah.
I mean, you look at Ariel, and that was an old school WWF reference for those of you keeping track at home. Chris Arreola is not going to be mistaken for a bodybuilder at any point. Doesn't need to be.
He looks more like a barroom brawler.
Yeah.
So that's
easy for you to say that once. Say that once, I'll give you $1. So, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Also, Saturday night in Lincoln, Rhode Island, Derek Bryant loses an 8th round unanimous decision over Jason Estrada. Estrada, 15-1 with 3 knockouts. Not many knockouts there for a heavyweight. That's pretty weird. Bryant, the guy that lost, has more knockouts. Many more. Like 5-6 times more.
Yeah.
Bryant's moving on down to 20-5 with 17 knockouts.
I think if you look at most heavyweights, they will have way more knockouts than what Estrada has. It's obviously just trying to win the fights on points, and I mean, that's what he looks like he's going to have to do for the rest of his career.
Very interesting. He scares me. I like heavyweights that go for knockouts.
Yeah.
I'm not always a fan of heavyweights that just try to win. I think we were just talking about John Ruiz, actually. I'm not comparing you to him yet, Mr. Estrada, but you're not far. You're not far. Start getting some knockouts, buddy, and then I'll actually believe that you belong in that weight division. Junior middleweight action, Demetrius Andrade. TKO victory in the 4th round over Eric Marriott. Andrade, still undefeated at 2-0 with 2 knockouts. Marriott 0-2.
It's very quick for him to get in there again. Obviously, you got to know Andrade from the Olympics. He's the one guy that won a medal this year in the Olympics for the U.S. team. Gets a second fight very quick. I mean, I believe it was just like 3 weeks ago that he fought the first time, maybe a month ago. So he might be trying to build his record up awful quick. He must have got a pretty good promoter to get him in there so quickly.
Demetrius Andrade did not get...
Oh, no, he did not. No, he was on... I was thinking of the heavyweight. This is junior middleweight. This is the guy that lost in the Olympics early on, and he was their high hope. That
Andrade was the one that everyone was patting on the back. He was the one that was going to go ahead and do this. I can't remember the heavyweight's name that did get the belt, but it was just a bronze.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yeah,
like
he was
super heavy.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight they just fought about a month ago.
Yeah.
Andrade was the guy that everybody.
Yeah.
He was the highly touted guy coming in.
Very much
everybody thought was going to get the gold.
You're right. Saturday night, Mexico City in, I think that's Illinois. No, that's Mexico. Junior flyweight action, Edgar Sosa knockout in the 7th round over Juanito Rubilar. He retains the junior flyweight championship of the world. Sosa 34-5 with 18 knockouts. Rubilar 46-11-7 with 22 knockouts. So Edgar Sosa gets to fight in his hometown of Mexico City, Mexico, and puts a whooping stick on Juanito Rubilar in grand fashion. Does exactly what he's supposed to be doing, though. He needs a little bit better opposition here, but there are people that say that he's on the tail end of his career. I'd like to see him keep fighting. I'd love to see a rematch with Jorge Arce, but if that ever happens, it happens.
Arce will probably look for a bigger name than that. But
yeah. Panama City, Panama, Friday night, junior lightweight action. Jorge Linares, TKO victory in the 5th round over Weber Garcia. Weber's wobble, but they don't fall down. Well, in this case, they do. He wins a vacant junior lightweight championship of the world. Linares, 26-0 with 17 knockouts. Garcia moving on down to 20-6 with 14 knockouts.
Yeah, Linares has been working his way up through this division for a while. Obviously, he's 26-0, so now that he's reached the top and got a belt here.
A vacant belt that he's going to have to, defend here pretty soon for him to be taken seriously. Friday night, Rio Rancho, New Mexico, welterweight Jesus Soto Caras, TKO victory in the 2nd round over Hiklet Lau. 22-3-3 with 16 knockouts for Soto Caras. That's all that matters. Absolutely demolished Hiklet Lau. Saw this on YouTube. This was a brutal fight. Caras just vicious. Took it to him. Hinklet Lau, God bless him for even showing up. That was a beatdown right there.
Yeah, their records aren't really comparable. I mean, one guy, roll back up there to show their records. One guy's 22-3, another guy's 20-18.
Yeah, well, they say Soto Caras was going to be next in line for Cotto if he had won against Margarito. So now he's wondering, well, why don't I just fight Margarito and make a bundle of money? Well, Margarito already had his own guys lined up, and they all ran away from him as soon as he beat Cotto, rightfully so. So, yeah, I still wanted to see, I want to see Paul Williams take him on. He already beat him once.
Oh, yeah.
Already beat him bad once, too.
I think there's a good chance he'd beat him again.
Yeah.
Because Margarito has trouble with busy fighters.
Yep. Friday night, Ontario, California. Welterweight action, Antonio Diaz wins an 8th round unanimous decision over Mario Ramos. 80-72, 79-73, and 77-75. Diaz moving on up, to 45-5-1 against 29 knockouts. Ramos 17-5-1 with only 3 knockouts. Antonio Diaz, last time he lost was against Juan Diaz.
Yeah.
In the Dia de los Diaz in Chicago. Great event, by the way. But wow, Antonio Diaz. Who do you see him even fighting? I mean, do you see him moving up to where he can challenge against like a Joan Guzman?
I don't know.
Perhaps. Maybe.
I don't even understand why he's all the way up to welterweight. He
needs to be fighting at light.
Yeah.
He needs to be fighting at light. He has no business being up there.
And maybe
he was having a hard time making weight.
Maybe at junior welterweight, it's kind of surprising to see him up so high so quickly.
He needs to be a lightweight, and he knows it. He shouldn't be up that high. It's interesting you caught that, though, because I just read it, and I just read it and didn't even say it.
He didn't have much power at lightweight. I can't see him having much knockout power at welterweight.
And I deserve extra money for even trying to read this. But damn it, I'm going to do it because I'm a professional broadcaster.
Wow.
Thursday night in Phitsanulok, Thailand, strawweight action. You got to know there's strawweights. Oleadong Sitser won a 12-round unanimous decision over Pornsawan Kratingdengjim. He retains the strawweight title of the world. Scores 120-108, 118-110, and 117-113. Sismarichai moving on up to 29-0 with 12 knockouts, still undefeated. Kratingdengjim 21-2 with 16 knockouts. So,
I'm happy you were not the ring announcer for this one.
I'm wondering who was. Hopefully a Thai guy, because this guy wasn't going to get that done. So let's go ahead and take our second break of the night. We'll be right back with all the fights that are going to be getting us through the week, and we'll be making our official picks on Oscar against Manny. When Oscar met Manny. We'll be taking a break. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com, streaming to you live on Ustream.tv.